Week 22 is here. Let's help set those lineups next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. As always, make sure to follow and stream us on Spotify. Today is Friday, August 26th. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Scott White. And let's start with the schedule, which is pretty straightforward for next week. We've got 2 teams with 5 games, the Astros and the Rays, 24 teams with 6 games, and then 4 teams with 7 games, the Diamondbacks, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, and the Brewers. Starter sit these fringy 2-start pitchers, Frankie Montas at the Angels and at the Rays.
It concerns me that he doesn't seem to have his splitter since joining the Yankees. That he just seems to lose a feel for that pitch from time to time, and he's not much without it. But he is coming off his best start as a Yankee last time out, and those matchups, Angels and Rays, they're really good. So I would lean yes on Frankie Montas.
Taijuan Walker versus the Dodgers and the Nationals.
Lean yes on him too, which wish it was a different matchup other than the Dodgers for that first one, obviously. But the Nationals kind of cancels it out.
Ranger Suarez, a little hit or miss at the Diamondbacks, at the Giants.
Yeah, I'm going to leave him for points leagues. His last start wasn't so great, and that Giants matchup could be pretty tough.
Lucas Giolito versus the Royals and the Twins. Good luck.
Gonna leave him for points leagues too. Just too combustible.
Mike Clevinger at the Giants and at the Dodgers.
Tough matchups. Been kind of shaky lately, leaving Clevinger for points leagues as well.
And lastly, Pablo Lopez versus the Dodgers and at the Braves.
Points leagues only. Those are really tough matchups.
Very scary stuff there. 2-star pitchers that we can add and stream for next week are whom?
So I only have 3 here, and one is already 78% rostered, so he barely makes the cut. And that is Cole Irvin, who is coming off a really good start against the Marlins. Now his 2 starts on the road his 2 starts this week are on the road, and his splits on the road aren't so great, but he's at Washington, at Baltimore. Those are venues where he should still pitch well, especially Baltimore, and the weak lineups too. So like Cole Irvin. I also like Matt Manning. He is coming off the best 2 starts of his career. Seems to have fixed his slider and starting to live up to his prospect potential. He gets the Mariners and Royals, 2 really good matchups. And then much further down the list, Spencer Watkins at Cleveland versus Oakland. I think he should at least be able to limit damage with those 2 starts.
All right, so we don't have many 2-star pitchers, but we do have a bunch of single-start streamers. Scotty, who are those?
So those include Johnny Cueto against the Royals, Josiah Gray against the A's. Should see more of the strikeout version of Gray in that one than the home run version. David Peterson against the Nationals. Hopefully he features his slider more in that start. Ross Stripling at the Pirates, coming off back-to-back 6 innings efforts. Jake Odorizzi against the Marlins. Easy matchup, and of course he has the Braves offense backing him. Jose Quintana at Cincinnati. Kind of a scary venue, but he's not so vulnerable to home runs. And then rounding out the list, Marco Gonzalez at the Tigers. Tigers are always a great matchup, and Gonzalez hopefully got back on track on Thursday.
Let's move into the hitters. The best hitter matchups for next week. The Red Sox, the Brewers, the Blue Jays, the Cardinals, and the A's. The worst hitter matchups, the Marlins, Padres, Astros, Rays, and Pirates. With that being said, Scotty, your sleeper hitters for week 22.
Tough week for sleeper hitters. Not a lot of teams with good matchups. And not a lot of hitters out there that I like. But the Cardinals, they have the 4th best matchups, as you mentioned. Lars Nootbaar is an easy choice. He might have been on this list, even if the Cardinals didn't have good matchups with the kind of role he's been on. His teammate, Dylan Carlson, I'm fine with him too. And also Albert Pujols. Now, Albert Pujols may only start for the Cardinals 6 games, but 3 of them will be against lefties. He's got an OPS near 1,300 against lefties. So Pujols, if you could justify having him on your roster, may actually not be a bad choice. You mentioned the Brewers have the second best matchups. Hunter Renfroe, I think, is a pretty easy call. Andrew McCutchen as well, if you need outfield help. I like Alec Boehm this week, too. He's kind of gotten hot again, and the Phillies have 3 lefties on the schedule. Alec Boehm's batting .355 against lefties this year. And then you want a really deep sleeper guy, only 2% rostered. Franchi Cordero has come up and taken over at first base with Eric Hosmer hurt for the Red Sox, and has always been a guy who hit the ball hard. He was on a little bit of a home run binge before getting called up and has already hit a couple home runs since returning to the majors. Red Sox have the best matchups, only one left-hander on the schedule. Cordero bats left-handed. So Franchi Cordero, really low-end option for you if you play in a league so deep that you need one.
Speaking of those Red Sox, I have 2 write-in votes here for Tommy Pham in shallower leagues and Christian Arroyo in deeper leagues. These aren't Scott's recommendations. These are mine, so take them with a grain of salt. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.